No matter where you might be on the journey of supervision, management, leading, even if it's as a team member with a supervisor, manager, or a leader, when conflict shows up, we all have an immediate response to duck and go for cover. It's a rare person that really enjoys being in the midst of conflict. And I'm here to tell you, after many years of exploring this, that the idea that we can manage conflict is very outdated. And I want to offer you a mindset that will prepare you for the modern age. And it's this: conflict is your friend, because what it does is indicate when there is something that no longer supports the vision we have for where we want to go. The conflict arises because we can see where we want to go, and all of the tools in our tool belt and methodologies we've used to this point in time aren't producing the results we want. Unfortunately, because it's so uncomfortable to be standing in the energy of conflict, we get protective. We want to have safety and calm and harmony, and we want it at all cost. Well, that's the problem. It costs a lot to ignore conflict and try to sweep it underneath the rug. And as I started to explore this a couple of decades ago and talked with all my colleagues who were in the conflict management business, I started to say, what if instead of conflict management, we began to see the value in conflict? What if we stayed put a little longer in our discomfort and wondered, I wonder what it is that's causing this conflict to bubble up now. What's different now? Who are the people that are involved? What is the map of stakeholders that are being influenced and impacted by the work we're doing that were happy before, but they're not happy now? In other words, to be a bit more disciplined, to reflect on the source or the stimulus behind the conflict in the first place. Here's the really cool thing I learned. When we're patient enough to not try to manage the conflict away, but instead to get curious and be in wonder about it, a whole new level of imagination and original thinking started to emerge. What I noticed is that people were in conflict because some were ready to go to the new thing and some were still holding on to the old thing. So what were we really talking about? Was it conflict or was it breakthrough? And it's really not either one of them. It's what's our tolerance for risk? Because if I stay in the place of what's familiar and comfortable, I'm holding a risk-averse attitude. If I go into the place of breakthrough, I'm saying I am very risk tolerant. In fact, I love taking risk. All right. So we make it personal because people have different approaches to something new that they want to pursue. This is why everybody says they don't like change, because they don't like the discomfort that comes whether you're on the breakthrough or the conflict side. It doesn't matter. When we stop holding these things as opposites or as some paradox, but instead something that coexists, and we allow curiosity and wonder on both sides of this pairing of conflict and breakthrough, now we're in a co-creative conversation. I'm not stuck anymore trying to defend my position of either being risk tolerant or risk averse. Instead, we're looking at what does the situation call for from us? And what element of breakthrough thinking and what element of status quo thinking will serve the third thing, which is where we're going in the future. Not yet manifest, but worthy of our attention from everywhere along the spectrum between conflict and breakthrough. This is what we call a tension of presence, because both are present. And if we look a little more closely with a sense of wonder, we're going to see a recombination that is exactly what supports us to produce the result we're imagining. One of the things I discovered as I began to share this information with people is that it's maybe a little bit progressive as an idea. And this notion of tension of presence, I've just introduced you to the first of 7. that are common tensions all leaders experience in the workplace. And after thousands of hours with leaders, we have lots of ideas about how each person finds their way to take the best out of both sides of the tension. The Vanguard Conversation series for 2023 is going to explore all 7 of these tensions. Each 1-hour session will feature myself and our co-host, Gary Schleifer from Choice Magazine, and one of our visionary global leaders who have been involved in all of our social progress work. You'll have an opportunity to work with a couple of tools, to hear a real life story of how this coach has worked with leaders in exploring these tensions of presence, and an opportunity to work with your peers for a few minutes so that you can go away and use these tools with your clients, or if you're a leader, every day on the job. So at the link down below, you can register for the program. As well, you could hit replay and listen to this again.